slaves during the transatlantic slave trade to Brazil. So this art form originated as a male initiation rite. Right? The men will do this dance that they saw the zebras do, and whoever won got the girl. Right? That's how it started. And then when it traveled into Brazil, due to chattel slavery and the extremes of what it was like, they used what they had with them and repurposed it. So Capoeira Angola is where it's called, not regional. Capoeira Angola was developed as the Angolan slaves mixed in with the Taino and with the other, predominantly the indigenous people and the Africans mixed together. And whoever else was free at the time joined the group. But to add to the culture, it predominantly came from the indigenous people of Brazil and the Angolan slaves. Cool? It's okay, I'm a history buff. I didn't throw any dates at you, you're lucky. I was going to go down the line. I'm like, going to do a real quick synopsis of what this is. Alright, so pretty much how it happened is as slavery got more vast, the slaves realized that this art form had different means to it outside of a rights. Right? Outside of rights, it could be used as a means of defense, a means to even bring together. So they started to use what was around them. Animals, nature, all of these things played a part in creating Capoeira Angola. Capoeira Angola is literally a mix between the animals of the area and, again, the two different cultures clinging together. So I'm going to show you a few moves and try to see if you see anything in it that looks like hip-hop. That looks like something that you may have seen in modern form. You'll tend to see or realize in large concentrations of African and people from the African diaspora in a spot. They magically remember things from millions of years ago and no one knows how that happens. It's called generational, it's called epigenetics. And we'll call it that. It's called epigenetics. The bad term is generational trauma. That's the only way we talk about it. We don't talk about it like it's a good, we only talk about it like it's a negative aspect. The good aspect is they practice it in their blood so much that hundreds of years later, their kids can come out moving and not knowing why they're moving the way they are. Alright? So I brought up indigenous people. Hip-hop was created with the Puerto Rican and the African community in New York. Right? Taino blood again. Right? So the concept is that these movements have existed in our bodies for a long time. And we tend to tap into them when we need them more now than we have before. That being said, I originally have done this for... Thank you. I originally did this with children, so I'm not going to have you get up, dance, and move with me. But there is a singing portion I'm going to explain later. But before I get down, I want you guys to understand that this is a very sacred art form that has been popularized. I think the word is secularized, or whatever the other term people like to use, where it's being used around the world in another means outside of the means of its purpose. And you're not going to find what I'm going to show you anywhere. Right? You got to go to Brazil to find this, and you might find some masters in DC that move like this. But Capoeira Angola, right, is disguised as a dance. So as they dance, the master had no idea what was going on. They had no idea what was happening. If you pay attention, I'm going left to right, in and out. I'm literally moving in 4 dimensions, which means I can move in any direction if any attack can come to me. I can go down. Right? I can duck under it if I have to. Right. All of this is still here. This is the basis of capoeira. So they were doing this on the plantation. Masters had no idea what was going on. Right? Just watching them dance, like, why are they dancing? Where are they dancing? Right? Where are they dancing? Then one of these happened, and they're like, oh wait, what are they doing? What are they doing? So they started watching, and you notice that they're actually training a martial art. Right? An art form that allows their body to move in all different ways. Outside. He's talking while he's doing it. Well, the art form you're supposed to sing while you move, so that's why I can do it. Alright, so we couldn't teach each other anything. So the songs are secret. The movements are secret. Only the slaves knew the meaning of the song. I can sing about water all day long. Only the slaves knew move like water. Master is like, what are you talking about? There's water down the street. Right? But they're training their children on how to move and maneuver out. So these calls and these sounds were used to warn when police came. Because they eventually learned, after getting beat by the capoeiristas, that this is an art form, not a dance. So it was criminalized for 40 years, 50 years, probably into the late 90s. Then a great master, my master, Master Pastinha, decided to organize capoeira, take it out of the slums, and show the world that this is what Africa gave the slaves. They put uniforms on them, shoes, orchestra, music, which is about to happen next. And when all this happened, he created Capoeira Angola. That was 135 years ago. Because of his innovation, this form I'm doing right now exists. You probably have seen this form though. Right? You probably see a lot of people doing this. This is the Brazilian form that they use to oppress the African form. And that's why that's the only form that exists. Right? You're not going to see too many people doing Angola on the ground. That's Angola. Right? This move right here is called the stingray kick, after the stingray. Right? Animals. And then the crescent moon kick, after a crescent moon. Animals, right? Nature. So, as it developed and moved, Pastinha ended up dying. Capoeira Angola got lost. Brazil saw the strength in it, saw how it was almost up there with jiu-jitsu and taekwondo at the time, and adopted it as their culture. No, this is our national martial arts. So you have Capoeira Regional, where you see predominantly Brazilians doing it. Right, all over the world. I can see it in Israel. I can find it in Australia, Finland, Netherlands, anywhere. Cannot find Angola anywhere. And the reason is because if you identify Angola, you acknowledge that where they come from, Africa. And then how can you have national pride in Brazil if it's an African art form? They use Capoeira Regional to bring in tourism, right? So that way they can profit off of it. And this is why I say it's secular, because they're making money off something that people use to survive. There are places in Brazil called Palmares and Quilombos that never saw slavery because of Capoeira Angola. I met a few of them whose parents literally grew up in Tendendez, never saw slavery because the warriors kept them safe in the mountains. Right? And this is again something that we don't talk about. So, I am going to have you sing a song with me that immortalizes this form of capoeira so that way it doesn't die. That sounds good?
Yeah.
Alright, call and response, right? You learned it earlier, so I'm glad you did. Gosh, oh, that was great, huh? Alright. I go, Angolia, Angola, Angola, Angoli. You go, Angolia, Angola. That's it. And I go, Angola, Angoli.
Angolia, Angola.
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 Angola, Angoli. Angola, Angoli.
Angolia, Angola.
Angola, Angoli.